Well, what's up, Douglas? It's Trent, aka TradeMark here, and the dreaded Force Arena 1.5 update has been announced. And they say dreaded because ever since they announced this morning, people have been losing. Everybody lost their mind. It's an interesting update that they have planned. So I wanted to give my thoughts about it. And my thoughts, I think, are pretty closely in alignment with the communities. And the main reason that people are not liking this update is because they're going to take out 2 versus 2 ranked play. They're going to take away your rating for 2 versus 2. And I think that's a mistake, and I feel like a large portion of the community feels like that's a mistake. And this is going to be Netmarble's first real test as far as something that is enormously unfavored that they're wanting to do. It's going to be their first test to see if they're willing to go back on what they had planned and make some changes. So let's go over the update real fast. So first of all, they're going to split up factions into different ratings. So you're going to have a Rebel rating and a Galactic rating. I actually like this change. The reason being is that especially free-to-play players, if you want to be competitive, typically you're going to focus on one faction or the other. You're going to upgrade all your cards in that faction because you want to have card level advantage. So you're going to completely focus on upgrading a single faction. You might upgrade some cards on the other faction, but typically one faction is going to be ahead of the other. And what happens is when you do that, I've had a lot of players that I've talked to who they got to Kyber playing exclusively Empire, and then they never want to play Rebel because their cards are underleveled and they get stomped, and it's just not a fun experience for them to try and switch at that point. Because if they switch, they're underleveled. They're already underleveled, but now they're severely underleveled, and they don't know how to play the other faction. They don't have a lot of experience there. So I think splitting up these ratings is a good thing. This is going to allow players to play their other faction and play at a lower tier rating with lower card levels and still be okay. It basically allows free-to-play players to experience both factions regardless of your skill and your card level on each faction. So I like that. You also have faction-based levels. This is, basically, as you upgrade cards of a certain faction, you upgrade the level there for that faction. Pretty standard stuff. I don't see any issue there. And that's needed, too, because there would be a huge issue if they only split ratings, but they kept turret levels the same, because then someone that's like, let's say someone reaches level 14, but they've only played Empire the entire time. They go play Rebel at, like, Bronzium, and they have level 14 turrets. They're going to destroy people still because of their turret health and turret damage. So that's good. You have faction-based levels. Your turrets are basically going to be dependent on the card levels for that faction. Season reward requirements. You have to play 5 times for each faction. That's not too big of a deal. If you're getting your dailies anyways, you can easily get that. And I kind of feel like this was necessary anyways, because, if there's someone that's like only playing, if you're playing less than 10 times in a week, I'm not sure that you really deserved getting that season reward anyways. So I don't see any big deal with that. Game mode, ranked match, and norm match. So here's the big one right here. So what they're doing is now 1 versus 1 is ranked and 2 versus 2 is normal. Now the interesting thing about this change is that normal, or 2 versus 2, you can still earn credits, and you can still earn card packs just like before, but the rewards will be dependent upon your 1 versus 1 rating. So basically, you need to build your rating up in 1v1, and then you can go play 2v2 to earn credits and card packs, but you don't earn additional rating there. And it doesn't make sense, because here's the main arguments against it, okay? And first and foremost, right now, the guild system that they've put in place, the only reason to be in a guild, literally the only reason right now, the only, well, I guess there's two reasons, but the first reason is to play 2 versus 2 with your guildmates, so pre-made 2v2s. The second reason is friendly battles. The only way to play friendly battles right now against a friend or against anyone is through the guild system. So it's really only two reasons. Friendly battles don't reward anything, so I mean most people don't use those. And then 2 versus 2, that's like a huge component of the game right now. There are players that exclusively, that's all they play is 2 versus 2. And if you remove their ability to gain rating and to see, because there is, even if you are Kyber, let's say you reach the highest tier, which is Kyber, every season you still want to play games in Kyber because as you win your rating, you earn bonus crystals. And if 2v2s are no longer going to reward rating, you're not going to get those bonus crystals for playing 2 versus 2. So there's a bigger incentive to play ranked 1 versus 1 because you earn bonus crystals as well as credits as well as card packs. So that's one. The first argument against it is that the guild system is put in place specifically pretty much exclusively for 2v2 ranked. I mean, there's tons of guildies that's all they play is 2 versus 2 ranked. And if you remove the ranked 2 versus 2 system, the guild system takes a major hit as well. And the guild system's already pretty weak. There's not really a huge incentive to be in a guild right now. I feel like there needs to be additional guild versus guild content, and this is going away from that. It's basically saying guilds aren't that important. 2 versus 2 is not very important. It's taking a huge portion of the community, and it's just basically saying, you're not very important. We're just going to shoo you off to the side. So that's the first argument against it. Secondly, the second argument that I would make against it is that I've always been a proponent for splitting up the ratings. In other words, I think there should be a 1 versus 1 ladder and a 2 versus 2 ladder because they are very different games. 1 versus 1 and 2 versus 2 are entirely different beasts. They take different decks, they require different skill sets, they require different strategies, and they're just different. How you play them is different. And so I feel like they need to split those up. But if you make just one important, one give you rating and one not give you rating, you're offsetting that balance. You're saying that the development team is going to focus exclusively on balancing for 1v1. We're going to focus exclusively for all the updates, and all the focus is going to be on the 1v1 because that's where ranked is and that's where the competitive element exists. So if you do that, 2 versus 2 is not only, it's going to become more unbalanced. It's going to become less of a priority, a smaller player pool, which means more unbalanced matches. There's already a lot of unbalanced matches in 2 versus 2. This is the gap is gonna extend even further. It's just not gonna be a fun experience for 2 versus 2 if you make it unranked, unrated. A lot of bad things can happen. I think it really will. I think this is a bad move. So my suggestion, if you haven't already kind of seen that, is I think it's fine to split the ratings up into factions, but I also feel like you need to split the ratings up like this. So you split them into factions, and then you have a 1 versus 1 rating for each faction. You have a 2 versus 2 rating for each faction. That's 4 leaderboards. And, well, actually, I don't even know if they're going to split up the leaderboards. You might have different ratings, but both ratings might be on the same leaderboard. I'm not sure how they're going to do that. Anyways, you would end up with at least 2 ratings, a 1 versus 1 rating and a 2 versus 2 rating. And you would have 2 ratings in the 1 versus 1, 1 for Rebel and 1 for Empire, and 2 ratings in the 2v2, 1 for Rebel and 1 for Empire. If you do that, I don't see how anyone can complain in this situation. 2v2 players can still play their 2v2. They can increase their rating. They can play Empire. They can play Rebel. And I think it's actually kind of cool. I've always wanted to see how I compare, like, on the 1v1 scale. So if you split these up, if you have 4 separate leaderboards, I would love it to see who the top 5 players are for 1v1 Rebels, and the top 5 for 1v1 Empire, and the top 5 for 2v2 Rebel, because the seasons are so short, 1 week. I don't think the same player, even someone like, you know, that's really high level, like Shinwei, who's like level 16 or something. I don't think even he could like grind. I don't know. Point is, if you have 4 leaderboards, I feel like it's going to separate that, and it's going to give people a little more incentive because they can pick which mode they want to play in, and they could potentially climb up that leaderboard and rank really well up there. So this change is the one that most people are complaining about. I really hope that Netmarble rethinks this and splits up not only faction ratings, but 1 versus 1 and 2 versus 2. Keep it ranked. I just don't see. I understand from a balance perspective, it's actually easier if they only have to focus on one mode, like 1 versus 1, if they only have to balance for that. I get that, because some cards it's very hard to balance for both modes, and make them a viable card in both modes. But I feel like this is just a mistake. The reward changes, all it's saying is that you're going to earn rewards based upon your highest tier. So if your Rebel rating's Kyber and your Empire is only tier 4, you're going to earn Kyber card packs and rewards. Pretty basic stuff. They're improving the matchmaking elo. So I guess the idea behind this is that if you play a certain faction a lot, you're going to earn like small bonuses for your elo. So I guess technically people that are like one-trick ponies should be playing, like, if you only play Rebel and you have a huge win rate and a really high elo, you should be playing other Empire players that have a really high win rate and a really high elo. It should match those 2 types of players together, which I guess is important again if you were to switch factions. You know, you'd kind of have the 2 different elos there. And then the good part about this update, replays. Hugely requested feature, replays. So this I had said that this is a step in the right direction towards a spectator mode. This isn't spectator mode, but it's great news. I'm not sure how replays are going to function. If you're going to be able to move the screen however you want and kind of spectate both players, or if replays are just going to be like from your perspective, which would suck. So hopefully you can watch the replay from anywhere. And if that's true, videos are going to be so awesome. I'm going to love recording replay footage. So right now you only have the first person perspective for replays, for recording footage for gameplays. If you can go back into that replay and watch from whatever angle, that's going to be huge. It's going to make it so much easier to critique gameplays and to like see where your mistakes were made. And I'm really excited for the replay feature. So awesome job, Netmarble, on the replays. It's really needed, and it's one step closer to spectator mode, which I think they need as well. Is the next step is going to be spectators. Overall, it's a good update. There's just that one single component of it right here, which is removing 2 versus 2 rank, that a lot of people are going to have problems with. So, that's pretty much it. Hopefully, right now, guys, on the subreddit, I know this isn't the official forums, but if you guys can see this, you can't actually. I'd have to move it. Let's see. How can I do that? I don't think I can do this. Sorry. Anyways, like the top 8 out of like the top 10 threads are complaints about this patch. So Netmarble, hopefully they listen to the community at large right now. It's, even if there's players that don't care at all about this, you have to value a certain portion of your community. You are going to alienate a large portion. I know, I would say 50% of our guild only exclusively plays 2 versus 2. Or like a huge majority, like 90% of their matches are 2 versus 2. So if you just remove that rating capability from that 2 versus 2 mode, you're going to really upset a lot of players, a lot of the player base. So hopefully they rethink this, make some moves, and don't push this update out until they've rethought things. I think the solution is to split up 1 versus 1 and 2 versus 2, as well as factions. If you guys have other suggestions as far as solutions which they can do which keeps the 2 versus 2 player base happy, let me know in the comments below, and hopefully we can all come together as a community and get the best solution for everyone to keep everyone happy as much as possible. Anyways guys, Malo, aupito. Thanks for watching. Peace, I'm out of here.